everyone, and welcome to YouTube Tuesday with me, Jessica Brigden, JessBCreativeCardiology. Hello, hello. How are you today? I hope you're having a great start to your week. We had snow this morning, and I say that because it's the first time all fall. We have not had any truly winter weather yet, so this morning was a real treat. But I'm glad the sun finally came out. But yeah, a little bit chilly here today. But that is perfect because we are going to be playing with Stampin's Winterly Treetops bundle and the Nests of Winter designer series paper. So it's from the Nests of Winter Suite collection from Stampin' Up's September to December 2024 mini catalog. And I have got a couple of super fun folds for you. We are going to be doing a flip flap card and a double point card. So two fabulous fun folds for you today. These are part of my workshop of the month. And if you have placed an order of $50 or more with me during the month of October, then you would have gotten one of these packets in the mail. And hopefully everybody who did got their packet already. And this has the projects already cut and ready to assemble for these two cards. If you did not get a packet, you can still follow along. All right, I will be giving you step-by-step instructions here on how to make these two fun projects. All right, so let me just flip the camera. We got a lot going on, and I want to get right into it and get started. And if you're joining me today, make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know where you are tuning in from. All right, so glad to have you here. Okay, so let me get my lights on here on the desk. Alrighty. Okay, so got everything set up. Now, if you find that you like the idea of these fun fold cards, all right, so you're not going to want to miss the cards for your November orders, okay? So if you're placing a November order, go ahead to my Stampin' Up! Online store. Link is in the video description there, along with my host code BXHR23WC that associates your order with me as your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I can send you my free project tutorials as well as my fun fold projects. All right, and if your order is $75 or more, I will also add in a free embellishment, right? A free pack of embellishments here, something from the new catalogs. All right, and if you place that order of $50 or more for 4 consecutive months here for November, December, January, and February, then it will also have a free gift for you. All right, so just putting that out there. But like I said, two fabulous fun folds today. Hi, Nancy. Good to see you. All right, so I love the Nests of Winter, this whole suite collection. The paper pack is amazing. If you love birds, then this is the paper for you because check out this gorgeous, gorgeous paper here. All kinds of different birds. Of course, we've got our cardinals and our blue jays and our chickadees. But it's just really sweet. And we also have some neutral designs like the snowflakes, little birdie feet on here. Just all kinds of pretty, the birch bark. All right, it's a really nice versatile paper pack. All right, and so let's just go ahead, we'll dive right in. So our first card that we are going to be working with, all right, let's do our flip flap card first. So that is going to be, it's funny, I have, yes, it's going to be gray granite is the card base for this, okay? So I've got all of my goodies in here. So let me show you a sample of what it is that we are going to be making today. Okay, so this is our flip flap card. All right, so the flap, all right, you have your traditional card base, but instead we've got this neat little score line here, added this extra flap, and then it makes this little fun fold. So it's kind of a take on the book binding fold because we do adhere this initial section. It's kind of like a book binding, but then we add the extra flap. Okay, a great way to showcase two different sides of the designer series paper. All right, so we're going to start out here, like I said, with our gray granite. And if you're following along, whether you've got a kit or just crafting along with me, all right, you are going to cut your cardstock in half at 4 1/4. Okay, so you're going to cut it on the short side, on the 8.5 inch side. You're going to cut it at 4 1/4. So it's 4 1/4 by 11. Okay, and then you are going to place this in your trimmer or on your scoreboard, however you want to do this. Okay, so we'll extend the arm here of our trimmer. All right, and just remember, so you've got 2 blades on our Stampin' Up! Trimmer, dark. I say dark for death. That's the cutting blade. Slide that out of the way. We are just going to be doing scoring. And so that's the blade here that matches our gray granite cardstock. Okay, so on the long side, on the 11-inch side here, our first score line is going to be at 2 1/8. Okay, so 2 1/8, not the itty bitty line. All right, but 2 1/8. Okay, so you're gonna score it there. All right, 2 1/8, and then you're gonna slide it over. All right, and so our next score line here is at 4 1/4. Okay, so the first one is at 2 1/8, second one is at 4 1/4. And the next one is easy. This is the halfway mark. This is at 5 1/2. Okay, so 3 scores along that 11-inch side: 2 1/8, 4 1/4, and 5 1/2. All right, and that's all we need our cutter and our trimmer for. Okay, so, all right, I think the easiest thing to do, so you can visualize how this goes together, is to take your piece of basic white. This is going to be the insert for your card, the inside. And this, of course, is just 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so we're gonna put this right on the inside. Just like that. Okay. And then we are also going to put adhesive here in this middle section, this 1-inch section here. You can go ahead and just use a little bit of your Stampin' Seal if it helps for you to be able to see it a little better. All right, you could take your tear and tape and you could put that right in here. I'm not using any ribbon on this project, so you don't have to worry about anything wrapping around. You can just go ahead and put your tear and tape. If you're wondering how I got such a wide roll of tear and tape, this was the roll that came in the October paper pumpkin kit. Had a little bit wider width. This is the one, regular tear and tape. This is the one from the October paper pumpkin. So I'm just using up what I had here. Okay. But you can see this goes right here in the middle section. Peel that off and fold that right over. Okay, so essentially that makes our bookbinding fold. Okay, and by that it means you've got a binding, all right, and then it opens. Hi Linda, hello, hello. I hope you got your kit. We are making the first card. It's a flip flap card. All right, so we got our gray granite card base. Yours is pre-scored, or no, actually, I don't think you got a kit this month, but to follow along, you take a 4 1/4 by 11, okay? And then on the 11-inch side, we score at 2 1/8, 4 1/4, and then at 5 1/2, okay? We put our basic white on the inside, 4 by 5 1/4, and then we glued that initial 1-inch section, glued that closed, and that's what makes it like a book binding, okay? Now, let's take some designer series paper here. We're gonna decorate the front a little bit. Okay, so I am using this pattern of the Nests of Winter Designer Series paper. I love this side with all the little variety of smaller birds. And then we've got garden green stripes, watercolor stripes on the other side. So I want this to be my main panel. And so I'm going to contrast that with the stripes on the outside. So what we have for our binding is a 1 inch by 4 inch piece of designer paper. Okay, this is just 1 inch by 4 inch. And this is going right here on our binding, right on the seam. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the flip. Okay, so we're going to take this 2 1/8 section. Hi, Kathy. Oh, good. I'm glad you're working with this Nest of Winter Suite, and I hope you'll give this card a try too. All right, so we had our card folded here. Now we're going to take this 2 1/8 section and we're going to fold that back. Okay, this creates the flip for our flap. Okay, we're having fun with this. All right, so on our flap here, this is where we are going to adhere a little bit of contrasting cardstock. Okay, so I'm working with garden green, and this is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, so it's the same height as our card. All right, the 4 1/4 there. And then by going with 3 1/4, that means I can cut my front panel of the designer paper to an even 3 by 4. All right, that's great when you're working with designer paper, especially the 12 by 12, because then you can get 12 of these little 3 by 4 pieces out of one sheet of 12 by 12 designer series paper. So you can make a dozen cards, all right, using this template. All right, so we are going to adhere our 3 by 4 designer paper to our 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 front piece here, the flap. All right, just mount these together. Okay, so we got a little border on them. All right. Now, I don't usually say put your adhesive on here. Usually I have you put your adhesive on whatever you're layering. But in this case, we're going to cover this entire flap, okay? So go ahead, whatever adhesive you're working with, whether it's Stampin' Seal, Tombow liquid glue, or even your tear and tape, go ahead and cover this flap here. Okay, don't go beyond the edge. You still need to be able to open your card. All right, but we're just putting it right on that flap. All right, and now we're going to take this piece, all righty, and we're lining it up because it's going to be end to end here. All right, and you're going to center this panel on your card front. So you want equal distance on each side. Okay, so don't stick it in place until you are like equal distance on each side here. All right, if that looks good and your height matches up, go ahead and just stick that in place. Okay, and then when you open it, you can see it just extended a little bit beyond, which is why we did not put our adhesive on the garden green, okay, because it sticks out on this side and a little bit on this side. So we just put it on that flap instead. And now we've got this fun, instead of just a regular card fold, we've got a flip flap fold. All right, so I'm going to take my leftover designer series paper and put that right in here. Now this piece is 1.5 inches. It doesn't have to be this wide. You could do it as 1 inch to match this piece over here. But essentially what we did is if you were cutting your paper, all right, so say you had a piece of paper that's 6 inches, right? You cut your paper to 6. The center piece is 3 by 6, all right? So that's half your paper. And this piece is 1, so that's now 4. All right, which leaves you with a 2-inch piece, but I felt 2 inches really took up I wanted more space here, okay? But so essentially what you did is if you cut your paper, let me just show you on here. All right, so I want my birds straight. So if you took your 12 by 12 sheet or whatever size you're working with here, at 4 inches, okay, so you got a 4-inch section of your designer series paper, then, and even if you wanted, you can cut it in half, all right? So you're just working with a 4 by 6, okay? So we did 1 inch. That was this piece, okay? Then 3 inches. That's the center piece. All right, so 1 and 3, that's 4. That would, if you had left this at, you know, if you had cut it to 4 by 6, you'd have a 2-inch piece left over, which would be for the inside, okay? But like I said, I felt like 2 inches covered up just too much. So trim that down however you like, okay? You can just do a 1-inch piece there. I wouldn't go any skinnier than 1 because you want, when your flap is closed, you want this to be the green stripes, okay? Does that make sense that you want it to be even? Okay, so I did cut that down to 1 inch. So I did 1 by 4, 3 by 4, and a 1 by 4. All right, and this is just the front and back of a piece of designer series paper. All right, so you could use any paper for this, all right? I'm using the Nests of Winter, but you could use any paper pack for this. Okay, just putting this in here, right along the edge. Okay, nice, and now when it's closed, all right, I should have gone over just a little bit, but at least it's even, okay? All right, now to decorate the front, I've got a circle here. This is 2 1/4 inch circle. I did die cut this from the Spotlight on Nature dies. I was looking for my bundle here. Excuse me for bouncing the camera. All right, so Spotlight on Nature dies. I used the 2 1/4. So we've got that nice embossed, like the little ridges, okay? Or you could use the 2 1/4 circle punch, whatever works for you. Okay, and we're going to do just a simple greeting. And so since I'm working with the Nests of Winter collection, the Winterly Treetops bundle, I think I am going to do, I really like this nice sentiment, nice large font, and it fits perfectly here on the 2 1/4 inch circle. All right, so I'm going to use some garden green ink with this. Okay, garden green. Sending thanks and much love right there in the center. And then I'm going to put this down here. It's kind of fun. That adds to the flap. All right, but when doing that, we want to make sure that when you put your adhesive on, I'm going to use dimensionals. All right, we don't want to accidentally glue our card shut. Okay, so I'm going to put 1 dimensional right here at the very edge, right on the edge here of my flap. And then I'm going to put, so that'll be the middle. All right, I'm going to put 2 more dimensionals here. So if I just fold this over, there are 2 dimensionals going on the left side. All right, so put 1 down here and 1 up here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, and 3. All right, now we'll put this in place. I don't want it right on the edge, so I'm going to lift it just a little bit. Okay. And there we go. Perfect. All right, you can see it was good. That's why I did not put the adhesive on the whole circle. Now I've got this awesome flip flap. Okay, so that is it for this card. Super duper simple. Now, if you wanted to jazz this up just a little bit, okay, we have this paper is gorgeous. So you could use the stamps. All right, you could stamp and die cut something, or take a little piece. Going through, take a little bit of that designer series paper here. I think, yeah, I want to do just a little piece from here. Now, the dies cut out this bird and these birds, stamped images as well as the designer series paper, but because this card is so cute and tiny, I would suggest if you want to add a little bird to kind of dress it up, all right, maybe find the matching bird on your paper, and you could fussy cut that with your paper snips, all right? Find one from the outside edge, okay, and use your little paper snips to trim this out, and you could add that on here with a dimensional, all right? Otherwise, you can leave it clean and simple, just like that. All right, but that way, you know, you've got some options, okay? If you want to keep it super simple, or if you want to dress it up. Okay, I'm going to use some of these earth tone shimmer gems that are also part of this collection. And it's funny, I'm talking about paper snips, and I don't know where mine have gone. I think they are... I've been prepping. I have an in-person class coming up this Saturday. So if any of you watching are local here to me in New York, the class will be in Lansing, which is just outside of Ithaca, a little bit south of Syracuse. And would love to have you come. All right, so let's see, what color gems? We've got kind of this vanilla color. We've got like a beige. We've got garden green, and we also have Cajun Craze. I think, or so we could use those, or let's see here. Or you could use the little red berries. That would match these two. The little red berries are from the Cherry Cobbler and Pearl adhesive backed berries. These are an online exclusive, but those might work too. All right, so you got several options here for embellishments, and I think let's go with the beige. So I think I'm going to place a bigger one down here, and then a little one, and then another little one right up here. All right, just a little, just to add a little bit of sparkle, a little shimmer. All right, so that is our flip flap card tutorial. All right, pretty simple. I love that, you know, it's just your basic, your 4 1/4 by 11 card base and a few score lines. Okay, so no super fancy measurements or anything like that. Okay, so that's the first of our 2 fun folds. Our second fun fold is a double points card, and what I mean by that is you have a card base with 2 points, a point on each end, all right, hence double points, and then you adhere that together with a flap in the middle. All right, so for this one, let's set that aside, tuck that over there. Okay, for this one, I'm going with some real red so that it matches this little bird that I die cut directly from the designer series paper. Okay, I've got paper for my points, I use the little tree design with the little birds amongst it. Okay, the back side is kind of like these like Queen Anne's lace, whatever you might want to call that, the little branches there. You could use either side, but I do kind of like the birch on that. All right, and I have die cut my center panel here. This is from the Country Corners dies. Okay, really you could use anything. You could even just cut this as a rectangle, but I did use the Country Corners dies, and it is the, nope, not that one, not the third. Okay, so the fourth largest, 1, 2, third. If you're counting from the outside, from the large to small, it's the 1, 2, it's the third size that I used. Okay. All right, so for this one, rather than make a traditional card base, I just went with a quarter card. Hi, Melanie. Hello, hello. Yes, definitely try these, Nancy. Okay, so for this one, you could make this a traditional card base. That's totally up to you. If you did that, again, I would probably recommend going at 4 1/4 by 11. All right, fold it in the middle at 5 1/2. But what I did here, this is just 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is just a quarter sheet flat cardstock. And my base, like usual, all right, this is 4 by 5 1/4, but you're not gonna glue this down yet, okay? We need to make our flaps first. So for our flaps, we have 2 pieces of designer series paper that are 2 3/4 by 4, okay? So 2 3/4 by 4. And the thing to note with that, if you're using a directional paper, like the trees, okay, obviously you want to keep in mind when you cut your paper what direction your trees are growing, okay? So for this, I want them to grow up, right, vertical, because I've done a portrait style card, all right, which means mine opens this way. There's no reason why, like, you couldn't, you know, using other paper. I have a video, boy, it's probably been a couple years now, but I used the wildlife. I'll have to see if I can comment with a link to it. We had a jungle set with like a lions and tigers and a jungle paper, and I did one where it was landscape like this, and I put the tiger on the front, so it opened that way, okay? So just keep in mind which direction you want your card to open when you cut your paper, all right? But like I said, 2 3/4 by 4, and then on the 2 3/4 edge, you're gonna score this at 0.75, okay? So what did I do with my trimmer here? All right, I've already pre-scored these, but so you're gonna put your paper in here on the 2 3/4 side, and you can go from either direction. You can put it in here right at 3/4, right, 0.75, or if it's easier for you to work this way and hold on to the paper, all right, you can also do that. But either way, get your cutting blade out of the way, and you're just gonna score that at 0.75. You're gonna do that for both pieces, okay, so that you're creating a little flap there. Okay, same thing. Put this in here at 0.75, score it. All right, this creates a flap. Okay, and I scored these opposite, all right? So if you see, if I had the whole paper together, all right, I scored it at what's the top flap, and then this piece for the bottom flap. Okay, what those flaps are gonna do is when we take our basic white, all right, we're going to put our adhesive here on this little 3/4 inch flap. Okay, so again, you can use whatever adhesive works best for you. Okay, so you're gonna line this up and just take your basic white, your 4 by 5 1/4, tuck it right in here on that flap. Okay, and then you're gonna do the same thing at the bottom. Put your adhesive on the little flap. Okay, and then tuck this right down here. All right, just hug it right in your score line. Okay, so now your card has 2 flaps and the back looks something like this. All right, now that you've got those attached, you can adhere it to your card, whether you're using just a quarter sheet as a card base or whether you've done a traditional folded card. You're gonna adhere this to the front, okay? So go ahead and put your adhesive all around. All right, and this is gonna go right on the front. So you've got 1/4 inch border showing all the way around. Okay, so it looks more like a flap card, right? You could actually leave it just like that. And you could put this in the middle, all right? But the points, so this is called a double points. And you're wondering, well, I don't see any points. Well, this is how we do it, okay? So you're gonna open your flap and you're gonna take each corner and you're going to bring it right up along the edge of your basic white here. Okay, so you're bringing that point, the outside corner right up, touching your basic white. Okay, and go ahead and fold that down and then take the other corner. All right, do the same thing, bring it right up to match. All right, and they should, if you do it right, your paper should meet at a point right there in the middle, okay? You should have a nice even point. There you go. All right, and so fold that down, just ease your paper in. All right, so that's point number 1. Now, if your point came out good, all right, everything matches, looks nice, no gaps, all right, then go ahead and put a little adhesive on each of those corners just to hold the flap down, okay? All right, that just keeps it all nice and tidy. All right, you're gonna do the same thing at the bottom, okay? Fold that down, then take the bottom corner, pull that right up along your basic white, right to the center. All right, give it a nice, use your bone folder to burnish it nicely, okay? And take the opposite corner there, do the same thing, come right up along your basic white. Okay, make sure it's all flat. Then you bring it down, make sure your paper comes to a nice point there at the end. Mine are overlapping just a little bit, but my point is nice and smooth. I don't have any gaps and it looks good on the front. Okay, so if all is well, all right, go ahead and just put a little adhesive under those. You don't need a lot, just a little bit to tack them down, put it together. All right, and then gently ease it up, okay, as you fold it over the edge of that basic white. Okay, now you've got double points, 1, 2. All right, and looks good. My little birds are in the trees. I can see them. Their paper is going the right way. All right, now we're going to decorate our front piece, our flap here. So I've already got my little die cut bird. We'll pop this on with some couple of dimensionals here. And looking at our stamp set, I think with this one, I'll go ahead and use Thinking of You Always. Okay. Grab myself a block here, and I am going to do real red with this one so that it matches, brings out the red in my bird. Okay, and I'm going to stamp this first. I definitely recommend stamping this before you glue it down, just in case, all right? So at the bottom portion of my die cut here. Beautiful. All right, then get your ink out of the way so you don't stick your arm in it. All right, we'll come in with our bird. Remove the dimensional backings. And land our little bird above our sentiment here. All right, good. Everything looks great. Now we're going to adhere this with some dimensionals. So again, I'm going to take a dimensional and I'm going to put it right here at the top, right on my point. Okay, so right here on the front of the point. And then I'm going to flip this over and I'm just going to put two dimensionals, a left and a right, here at the top. Okay, actually, no, all right. Good thing I caught myself before I told you, and you have to mess up your card too. Okay, so you want them at the very top. Excuse me, I did not put them high enough. All right, so you want to put your dimensionals right at the very top. All right, so they're going to be a little bit closer together, but they're at the very top. And the reason I caught myself is because when you adhere this panel, if you had stuck them down here, right, then you glue your card shut. We don't want that. All right, this portion is exposed. So we just want the very top here to stick it on. All right, so make sure right up here at the top, and then one dimensional here on your point. Oops. Okay, now line it up, and we're gonna plant this in the center of our card so it looks like we're good. Top and bottom, left and right. It is, then go ahead, just press that into place. Yay, all right. No extra adhesive sticking out. Card opens properly. Okay, and you can write your message or stamp, do whatever you want right here on the inside. All right, or if you had made this just a decorative front, it had a full card, you would have the whole, or you could put another piece of basic weight along the back and have room. Maybe you would write, I don't know, a little poem or a message, stamp something here, and then you could do a handwritten message on the back. But lots of options here, but that is why this one is called a double point card, because of the way you fold the paper into 2 points. So what do you guys think? So we had our flip, flap, fold, and our double points fold. All right. I love those. Again, no complicated measurements. Really no fancy cutting. Everything was in, stayed as like rectangles and and good even measurements there. So I hope you'll give these cards a try. All right. Hope you enjoy these techniques. And again, try them out with various kinds of designer series paper. These work with all sorts. Okay, this one especially works well when you like both sides. All right, you can use the front and back of a single sheet. And this one, really, you can put anything you could think of to put in the middle here. All right, you've got lots of options. So there you have it. I hope you give that a try. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget, give me that thumbs up, all right? Like, subscribe, share. You guys know the drill. I do want to give you a heads up too, if you stuck around this long. Stampin' Up! Is having a seasonal sale starting tomorrow, okay? This starts Wednesday, November 13th, and it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All right, and so this is a sale on annual catalog product. So you're wondering, what is the annual catalog? All right, if you have your paper copy, it's this catalog, okay? It's the one with the garden party on the front. So annual catalog, the cardstock, all right? All cardstock is going to be 10% off, okay? So that is when you turn to the colors page here, page 135, all right, any of the cardstock, whether it's 8.5 by 11 or 12 by 12. All right, all the cardstock is going to be 10% off. The ink pads and ink refills and Stampin' blends are also going to be 10% off. Designer's Series paper. All right, that's all the fancy papers that coordinate with each suite. Pulling up a suite page here so I can show you. Okay, so for example, Unbounded Beauty, the Designer Series paper is also going to be all the Designer Series papers in this catalog on sale. Okay, and then bundles. All right, so on the bundled pages, these start on page 57. Well, there's different bundles throughout, but you can see some of the different stamp and die bundles exclusively here too on these other pages. But there's going to be an additional 10% off of the bundle pricing, okay? So for example, when you buy a stamp set and a die, or a stamp set and a punch together, you automatically save 10%, okay, by buying them as a bundle. The sale price is going to be an additional 10% off of that bundle, okay? So it's a 20, they're saying it's a 20% discount, okay? Oh, it's 20% off the designer papers too. All right, so any of these bundles, anything you have your eye on there, check that out. But it's annual catalog items that are on sale and our core product, our stamps, ink, and paper. Okay, so that starts tomorrow through Friday. Stampin' Up! Does not do a Black Friday, Thanksgiving sale, so if you're holding out for that, it's tomorrow, okay? So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the 13th through the 15th, Stampin' Up! Does not do a Black Friday, Cyber Monday special. All right, this is it. They do it early so that everybody can just enjoy the time with their families. All right, so if you have any questions, let me know, but leave me a comment. Appreciate it. And again, love for you to place an order in my online store. Go ahead and use that November host code. I'll send you my tutorials for the month. We did monochromatic projects. They're really cool. And then I've got some awesome fun folds for next month's workshop of the month too. All right, so tune in again. Join me this coming Friday at 3 p.m. will be our next video. I don't know what I'm going to show you yet, but it'll be awesome. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.